With expert physicians and compassionate care, we're here to help you take the next step in your health. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your first appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine. Forward for you.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Data centers are the latest hot topic in controversial developments for rural Illinois communities. And Thursday night, the DeWitt County Board was prepped for a pivotal decision that could come next month on the future of such development in DeWitt County. The DeWitt County Board discussed the potential for a new data center ordinance following an inquiry from a developer. While the board confirmed in a previous month's meeting that no such regulation is currently in place, Board Chair Joe Whitty pointed out that they need to actively explore the path forward.
Potential creation of data center ordinance. As Mr. Carter alluded to, in land use, there was some discussion on this. And I guess let me just share what my plan was. So, we did have the resolution last month that affirmed that we do not have an ordinance in place today, and therefore a data center would not be allowed. And at the time, we said we had no interest or nobody that was inquiring about data centers. Well, shortly after that, I did get approached by a developer who inquired about our potential interest. Told them, I couldn't tell them, I couldn't speak for the full board, but we could, as a board, decide is this something that we wanted to look at, the process of maybe starting that data center ordinance creation. I don't want to drop that on everybody because there's a lot of information to digest, a lot of pros and a lot of cons out there. So when I share with land use, my thought and what I told this developer is we take it to the full board, but I want to give you guys time to research the issues. In particular, I know Sangamon County just passed a data center application. They have a pretty recent ordinance out there that, and a lot of information online that they hired an independent expert to kind of review and gather information on some of the issues. So that information is available on Sangamon County's website.
They are looking at how other counties have navigated these ordinances, specifically looking for best practices. The process of drafting such regulations requires a cautious approach to ensure the county is fully prepared.
I know Aurora also has a very stringent data center ordinance, so we could look to those as to kind of get up to speed on what other counties have done. But as it stands, our resolution that we passed last month is where we are. We don't have an ordinance. If somebody were coming with an application, we couldn't process it. So do we want to go down that path? And my thought was next month, have a motion to either start that text amendment process and thereby signal to potential developers that, we're open to the idea, but maybe need some expertise, whether it's legal expertise or others, to kind of help guide us through that process. And want to make sure that if we're going down that path, we're going down with the right information that we need to come up with that ordinance that works for us. Alternatively, if we vote that motion down next month, that's signaling to a developer that we're not ready just yet for this. So again, the only way I thought that we could, as a board of 12, decide is to have that motion and either vote it up or down.
Whitty emphasized the need for specialized legal expertise to assist in this process, noting that if the county does not act proactively, individual developers could drive the process independently.
One other thing, I did reach out to Mr. Markwell because we also discussed getting some potential legal expertise with specific knowledge in these types of ordinances. And he said, he did say that he would authorize it. He would not object, but certainly want to clean that discussion up with language with them and make sure that we're all on the same page should we go down that path. One last thing I would call out, and Mr. Markwell did point this out as well. Even if we say no, we're not interested, any landowner could come in and pay the fee to get a text amendment process started. So that's where, we could, blow this down, but it doesn't mean that the issue is going to go away. If the developer is working with a landowner, they could have that landowner pay the fee and start that process of the text amendment. But so, this is just, do we want to get ahead of the issue? It could still show up in our lap somewhere down the road, even if we are not interested. So just something to keep in mind.
Technical considerations are also at the forefront of the debate, particularly regarding cooling systems. Tim Earle, who is employed by Constellation Energy, explains that closed-loop cooling systems carry higher upfront costs, but they offer significantly greater water efficiency compared to alternative designs, which is a major environmental and infrastructure consideration for the county.
They can go to a closed-loop cooling system. It's just a little more expensive and a little less efficient. The most cost-effective and the cheapest and the most efficient is to pump water on the ground, let it evaporate, let it go into the air, and you get recaptured at some point in rainfall. That's the cheapest way. If we were to put a closed cooling system in, that drastically cuts by over 50 to 60% the water usage that they would need, even more. And is that because it would be closed loop, so you capture that water back and reuse it and go and that piece of it. Then there's also the factor they could use post-treated wastewater and use it that way as well. And basically we've already used that water and it's going to go downstream anyway. So that's another way that they could possibly could do it. But like I said, the closed for the water issue, the closed cooling system would be the more advantageous way to go without just worry about the aquifer itself.
Beyond local planning, state-level legislation is also impacting the conversation. Board member Tom Ferris points out Senate Bill 4004, which proposes a prohibition on data center operations over the Mahomet Aquifer.
So, Mr. Chairman, there's also a Senate Bill 4004 that Senator Chapin Rose has presented, and it's in the process. Right now it's 25% done. And that also prohibits using any data center operating within the state over the Mahomet Aquifer, and that encompasses a good bit of our county. So we have to see what happens on that.
A central concern for members remains the long-term impact on the county's identity. Pat Ryan noted the current comprehensive plan heavily promotes the area's rural character and questions whether data center development on ag land aligns with that vision.
In a follow-up discussion that I had with Kelly Murray, who's on that same organization, I can't think of the name of it. She cautioned against, she said, be aware that if all these counties put moratoriums in place and then we kind of have a de facto moratorium and that we don't have an ordinance, that could very well get the state involved if enough money changes hands at that level. And then we'll be able to write an ordinance. They'll write it for us.
Right.
The other thing that comes to mind for me is the county's comprehensive plan. No fewer than 14 times does it promote the idea of the rural character of DeWitt County. And if we open up ag land to data centers, what's going to ever stop that? And can we still promote the idea of a rural character of our county?
While no formal action was taken during Thursday's meeting, the board plans to revisit the potential for a motion regarding a text amendment process at next month's meeting. The city of Clinton is looking ahead to a new fiscal year, with city leaders officially passing the financial year 26 budget, including several community-focused initiatives and investments. On the WHOW Morning Show Thursday, City Administrator Tony Harris told the Hart Media Group the budget ensures essential services are covered, and the approved budget has specific line items for the Block by Block program, as well as the popular Concerts on the Square series.
Yeah, the budget was officially passed and starts on May the 1st. And a couple of things that are actually in my side of the budget. When you talk about the budget, there's different. I've got some line items. Street department's got some. It's kind of a working piece with the treasurer for different department heads. And in my line item, one thing that is that we budgeted for is the Block by Block program, and the mayor will talk more about that. She's kind of the lead person on that project. And then I'm the lead person on the Concerts on the Square series. And so we can talk a little bit about that real quick. On June the 26th, a tribute band for Toby Keith. The band's called Honky Tonk U. And then on July the 24th is Voodoo Exiles. It's a Rolling Stone tribute band. So those are two that we have planned right now. And that, again, that's part of the budget process that was approved. And those are already set on those dates that I told you.
While these plans for city-sponsored concerts this summer are not high-profile and up-and-coming artists, the goal is to return to those kinds of acts in the years ahead, reviving the once very popular summer concert series to its former glory. Harris notes booking talent of this caliber requires long-term planning.
There's one more that I'm trying to plan. It's going to be more of a Nashville act if I can get it together. We're getting kind of late, but I am in discussion with them now. I can't give any details out right now, but hopefully at the next time I'm here, we can announce that. So. It's going to be a good one if we can get it going.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we've already started working on next year. There's a lot of discussion on spending the money for the bands and things like that. All the commissioners, including the mayor, they're in agreement, and we want to see Mr. Lincoln Square utilized, and that's one part of it. So we're starting now for next year as well. I mentioned that we've already started for next year. When you get an act like that, you have to start early, like a year, really over a year in advance to get that. I mentioned the one that I'm working on now. It is a Nashville act, but we're kind of late in the season, so I'm not totally sure we can get this person yet, but we're working on it. But that's the hope, and the thought is, a Nashville act and maybe also some cover bands to fill in. We just have to think about this more next year on the, how many bands we want to have. I talking to the commissioners and the mayor, we think it's kind of overkill to do one every weekend, but right now we're going to have two for sure, maybe one more, and then next year we'll expand on that.
The city approved the latest fiscal year budget at the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device, all free, all the time, at DeWittDailyNews.com.
ServPro Team McGuire is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of severe weather coverage across all WHOW platforms, AM, FM, and streaming online, as well as on WEZC, your easy choice for soft hits at 95.9 FM. Whether it's wind, rain, or even snow, you'll stay informed with severe weather updates around the clock. When severe weather strikes, we break in anytime to bring you the critical information you need to keep your family safe. Brought to you exclusively by ServPro Team McGuire, your local fire, storm, and water restoration experts.
Looking for a provider who puts your health first? SIU Family Medicine is accepting new patients. Our care teams are here to keep you healthy, whether you're managing a chronic condition or staying on top of preventative care. With expert physicians and compassionate care, we are here to help you take the next step in your health. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your first appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine. Forward for you.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. The Illinois Basketball Coaches Association has announced its Coaches of the Year recognizing outstanding leadership and success across the state during the high school basketball season. Among those honored are several coaches from the IL Sports Wire and Heart Media Group coverage area, highlighting the strength of local programs and the impact these leaders have made on their teams and communities. Those coaches from the area include Tim Martin of Warrensburg-Latham, Vic Binkley of Clinton High School, and Tony Gavin of Rochester for the boys basketball side. For girls basketball, it was Josh Williams of Clinton High School as well as Ryan McVickers of Mount Pulaski earning those honors. Each coach played a key role in guiding their program to a successful season, earning recognition from peers across Illinois. The IBCA Coach of the Year honor is one of the highest distinctions in Illinois high school basketball, celebrating not only the wins on the basketball court, but also leadership, development, and dedication to student athletes. Andrew Benintendi hit a tie-breaking 3-run homer in the 9th inning that lifted the Chicago White Sox over the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-1 on Thursday for their third win in 4 games.
Murakami, Montgomery, Miggy Vargas? Nope. None of the M&M boys extended their home run streaks on Thursday afternoon in the desert, but that's okay because in a 1-1 tie in the top of the 9th, Andrew Benintendi came through in a clutch situation.
A swing and a fly ball, well hit, right center. Benintendi thinks he got it, and he is right. He hit that one almost into the pool. A 3-run homer. It's 4-1.
Benny's shot clinched a winning road trip as the Sox improved to 4-2 and now return home for a 6-game homestand starting on Friday night against the Nationals. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 6 p.m. on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The White Sox are back in action tonight on WHOW when they kick off a 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Pregame begins tonight at 6 p.m. Dansby Swanson had his first game-ending hit in 5 years, and the Chicago Cubs rebounded from a pair of blown leads to Philadelphia to beat them 8-7 in 10 innings Thursday for their 9th straight win, and the Philadelphia Phillies' 9th loss in a row. Chicago led 6-2 before Philadelphia closed with 3 runs in the 7th. Pinch hitter Edmundo Sosa had a tying single off Jacob Webb in the 8th. Seiya Suzuki put Chicago back ahead 7-6 when he homered against Brad Keller in the bottom half, and pinch hitter Adolis Garcia retied the score when he went deep off Caleb Thielbar in the 9th. Swanson's opposite field, a 1-out single to right center off Tanner Banks drove in automatic runner Ian Happ from third for Swanson's first walk-off hit with the Cubs, giving the win to Javier Assad, who improves to 2-1. Chicago had a season-high 18 hits and is on its longest winning streak since taking 11 in a row from July 31st through August 12th in 2016. The Cubs won their first World Series since 1908 that year. Philadelphia has lost 9 straight for the first time since September of 2018. The Phillies haven't lost 10 in a row since 1999. Michael Busch had a 3-run homer and 4 RBIs. Seiya Suzuki had 3 hits and has 3 homers in 3 games. Brandon Marsh hit a pair of solo homers and finished with 3 hits on a warm day with wind blowing out at Wrigley Field. Cubs starter Edward Cabrera allowed 5 runs, 3 earned, and 5 hits in a season-high 7 innings. Christopher Sanchez gave up 6 runs and 13 hits in 5 1/3 innings. Philadelphia right-hander Andrew Painter faces Braves right-hander Grant Holmes in Atlanta on Friday. Cubs right-hander Jamison Talon takes the mound versus Dodgers right-handed pitcher Emmett Sheehan in LA on Friday. There were a number of directions the Chicago Bears could have gone in the first round of the NFL draft. They opted to give their secondary a boost. Chicago took a safety in the first round for the first time in 36 years when they selected Oregon's Dillon Thieneman. With the number 25 pick on Thursday night, Chicago also has 2 second-rounders, a third-rounder, a fourth-rounder, and 2 seventh-rounders. The Bears lost their top 4 safeties, including 3-time All-Pro Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker. They signed Kobe Bryant, who helped Seattle win its second Super Bowl, to a 3-year, $40 million contract, but still had an opening at that position. Thieneman grew up near Indianapolis in Westfield, Indiana, and starred at Purdue for 2 years before transferring to Oregon last season. He earned first-team All-Big Ten honors and helped the Ducks go 13-2 while advancing to the college football playoff semifinals. He finished with 95 tackles and 2 interceptions, including a clinching pick in a doubled overtime win at Penn State in late September. The 6-foot, 201-pound Thieneman is known for his speed, versatility, and ability to recognize what the other team is trying to do. He ran a 4.35-second 40-yard dash at the Combine and can play both safety spots as well as nickelback. The Bears still have needs at left tackle and in the pass rush. They could be addressed the next 2 days. In scores from around the MLB last night, the Atlanta Braves beat the Washington Nationals 7-2, while the Detroit Tigers took down the Milwaukee Brewers 5-4. The San Diego Padres beat the Colorado Rockies 10-8, while the LA Dodgers shut out the San Francisco Giants 3-0. The New York Yankees beat the Boston Red Sox by a score of 4-2, while the New York Mets took down the Minnesota Twins 10-8. And the Texas Rangers beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 6-1. In NBA playoff scores from last night, 6-seeded Atlanta beat the 3-seed New York 109-108, while the 5th-seeded Toronto beat the 4th-seeded Cleveland 126-104, and the 6th-seeded Minnesota beat 3-seeded Denver 113-96. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Out with friends? Remember to pace yourself. Drinking too much too fast can sneak up on you. A good rule? Stick to 1 drink per hour and alternate with water. That way, you stay in control and enjoy the night safely. This message is brought to you by Skef Distributing, your Budweiser products distributor in Central Illinois, and the title sponsor of this National Alcohol Awareness Month campaign, reminding you to know your limits and drink responsibly.
Looking for a provider who puts your health first? SIU Family Medicine is accepting new patients. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your first appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine, forward for you.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.